Okay, so now we're going to take a look at setting up the limbs. And it's going to be a continuation of what we have here. This is the left side, so it's going to be based off of the character's own reference point because the camera reference point can change and us looking at it can change. So we'll name it after the character's left-hand side rather than doing screen left or right because that can change. So here, this is going to be, let's copy this one. And this is going to be left hip bind. And then we need the values for this. So this is going to be at 5, 80, and -3. And let's just double check that that looks okay. And it does. So here we have value of 5, 80, and -3. Select everything, run it. That looks great. So I'm going to go down and do several of them at the same time. There's not many more. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's get the values of these really quick. Let's do 5, 43, and -2. Then the ankle is going to be 5 also. 6, -3.5. Ball of the foot, I can keep this at 5, 1, and 5.5. And then the tip of the toes is going to be at 5, 1, 11.5. There we go. So we have all those set up. Now let's copy this, paste. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. It's going to go knee, ankle, ball, and toes. The toe joint here is another one that's not going to be bound. So this is going to just be called end because it's an end joint. Okay, now we need the values for each one of those. So we have 5, 43, and -2. Then here we have 5, 6, 3.5. Oops. There we go. Then the ball is going to be 5, 1, and 5.5. Then the toes are going to be 5, 1, and 11.5. Okay, so let's get rid of these joints here and run this script. here so we can see one of them is off, and that's the toes because I forgot to get rid of the negative. There you go. Let's run this, make sure it runs correctly. That looks great. Okay. So now let's align the arms. So 7.5, 113.5, and -3. So this is 31.5, 112, and -3. That looks good. Then the wrists, let's do 52.5, 112. Let's do 111. I like that a lot better. And then -0.5. That looks great. So let's do those 3 joints for the arm. So I'm going to copy this, paste it. This is going to be a bind joint. Just going to make sure I name it that. Let's start off in the shoulder. Then we do want it on the left. Then we have 7.5, 113.5, and -3. Okay, I can copy this, go down to the next line, be the elbow. Elbow. And then we have the values. So it's going to be 31.5, 112.5, and -3. Then let's go down to the wrist. 52.5, 111, and
I didn't get that.
Sorry about that. -0.5. This is going to be the wrist, and it's a bind joint. Okay, so I have that, and that. Let's delete those and run this script. That looks great. Okay, so now that we have those, let's set up the palm. So this is the palm joint. Do this at 111 and at 57. Okay, that looks pretty good. Copy, paste. It's going to be our palm joint. It's a bind. Actually, this is not a bind joint. This is going to be a reference joint. And we use the palm to be able to parent things in the future to our character's hands and things like that. But we don't need weights on it. It'll either be the wrist or it will be the individual fingers that will be weighted for this section here. So let's change these values. It's going to be 57, 111, and 0. Left palm, that's great. Now we need to start off with the fingers. So we have the thumb, 53.5. 111, and then let's just make this 1. Gonna do it 111.5. And then looking at the wrist now that I see it, it's probably off there. That should be about 111.5 as well, so I can make that adjustment. 0.5. Okay, so let's copy this one. Oopsies. Paste it here. And I'm going to save, making sure that I am saving the script. Save script. Python autorig.py. I just want to make sure I don't lose anything. So I have multiple on top of each other. Just want to make sure I delete all the joints that we have extra. So these are the only joints we have to finish here. Yep, that looks great. Okay, so this is going to be thumb. And the thumb joint here is going to be thumb 01. It is a bind joint. It's on the left, and it's going to be at 53.5, no 1.5, and then at 1. Okay. So I can copy and paste this. Oops. On the next line. So I'm going to need thumb 1, thumb 2, thumb 3, and thumb 4. So that's 2, 3, and 4. I can rename this really quick. 3 and 4. This last one is going to be an end joint. Okay, then we can make sure that we have these values a little bit more normalized. 57.5, 109.5, 4. That looks good. $59, 108.5, and 5.5. So obviously, oh, I put 208, should be 108. That looks a lot better. And looking at where I want it to bend, it's not quite there. Okay, so let's try 59, 108.5, and 5.5. I guess close enough. Adjusting that there. So this is going to be 7, 107, and 61. Let's see. That's where I want it. Not quite. I want it more right there. So let's try 61.5. So this is where kind of it is going to be a little bit more important, the tenths of a unit. So I'm going to have something kind of like that, and that looks okay. Okay. So all of those look good. Now let's do the numbers. So that is 57.5, 109.5, and 4. Then we're going to do 59, 108.5, and 5.5. Looks like I wrote over one that I wanted. So let's double check these values. So 50, let's go over here. Let's move this down a line so that way we can separate it. So this is going to be basically these values here, because I copied it from that. Then this is going to be 57.5, 109.5, and 4. Then for the next one, 59, 108.5, and 5.5. And then the last one, we have 61.3, 107.1, and 7. Okay, gonna save the script and run all of this. So it looks like all of that worked correctly for us. And if you want to zoom in and out like this, you just hold control, middle mouse button, drag, or command on a Mac command, middle mouse button drag. Okay, so all of those joints are set up. Let's try that again. Yep. Okay, now we have to do the individual fingers. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 joints as well. So I'm going to copy this section here, paste it, and instead of thumb, this is going to be index. And it's going to have the same structure where the first 3 are bind joints and then the last one is an end joint. Okay, so that is the setup we want for the individual fingers. Now we need to get the values. 60.5, 111, 2.5. Let's see if that looks good. Sure. 63, 110.5, and 3.5. See if that looks correct. It does not. See, 4 or 3. Want it about there. So I'm going to do 63.3, 110.5, and 3.2. That gets close enough to where I'm happy. Okay, so 3.5, 110, and 65. I am happy with that. Okay, here, let's try 67, 109.5, and 4. Position-wise, I think I'm okay, but I'd like it a little bit higher. So let's say 109.7. Okay, I like that. So let's start off on the top of the range here. Uh, 60.5, 111, and 2.5. Then we have 63.3, 110.5, and 3.2. Next one we have here is going to be 65, 110, and then 3.5, and this last one is going to be 61.3. Oops, sorry. Not what I want. It's going to be 67. 109.7 and 4. Okay, so let's delete all these joints. And let's save the script. There we go. That looks great. Now we're on to the middle finger. Let's get these positions just right. 61.5, 111 and 1. Not 51, but 61. There we go. Pop that back where we needed it. 64.5. Let's just try 64. 64.25, like that. 110.5. See if we had it at 111. Too high. 110.75, like that. And then 1.5. I don't like that. 1.25. Okay, I can live with that. Next one. 1.5. 110. 66.75. I'm happy. Let's get this a little bit better positioned. Okay. And then this is going to be 69.5. 109.75 and 1.75. Let's check it. I like it. Okay. So let's copy these. I'm going to paste it. And these, instead of index, are going to be middle. Copy and paste. Okay, so we have the 4 joints set up. And now we need to just transfer over the position values. 61.5, 111, and 1. $64.25, 110.75, and then 1.25. Next one is going to be 66.75, 110, and 1.5. And then the last one is going to be okay, so we have the middle finger. Did we update it all? I had to jump off the video really quick, so let's start off on the top one. 61, 111, and 1. That looks good. 64.25. That looks good. 66.75, 110, 1.5. That looks good. So this is the last one I have to update. 69.5, 109.75, and 1.75. Let's test everything. Let's go first and delete all of this. Select everything, run it. That looks great. Delete. Delete. It looks like I got the pinky one on accident. There you go. Okay. So now I need to do the ring finger and the pinky finger. 62, 110.5, negative 0.5, close enough. Then we have this one that should be 64.5, 110, negative 0.5. Okay. Oopsies. There we go. 66.5, 109.5, and negative 0.5. That looks good. And then this one, 69, 109, and negative 0.5. So I like all that, except that I'd like it to be a little bit closer that way. So let's put it at 68.75. Okay. So we're going to copy this paste it, and I'm going to do the pinky right now too. So this is going to be ring, Control C, and Control V for each one of these. Then this is going to be pinky. Control C and Control V. Okay. So let's look at the ring finger and get those values in really quick. So this is going to be 62, 110.5, and negative 0.5. Let's look at the next one. 64.5, 110, and negative 0.5. Oopsies. So I did that on the wrong one. I want to make sure that I do it on the ring finger. So let's copy that and paste it here. And let's double check this one. 62. Yep, that looks great. Okay. So we have 66.5. Oops, the wrong value again. 66.5. 109.5. And then negative 0.5. This is going to end up being negative 0.5 because they all were negative 0.5. Let's look at it. This is going to be 68.5, 109, and negative 0.5. That looks good. So let's take these, delete them. Now we got the pinky. That's close enough to 61. We'll use that value. 109.5 and negative 1.75. Let's see if I like that. I feel like it should be more this way. This is probably closer to negative 2. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Let's put it at negative 2.2. Negative 2.1. I like that. This is at 109. And let's say this is at 63. Let's check it. So I think that's okay. Let's look at this one. Let's try at negative 2.2. That looks okay. Then we have on this one here that, let's say 109. I like that. And then 64.5. Like that. And then this last one, negative 2.3. 108, and 66. Let's try 66.5. It's kind of in between those, so negative 66.25. I like that. I'd say that either this one's too low or this one's too high, or a combination of the two. So let's take this one, and that's going to be the y. So let's say 108.75. That looks better. And then this one can say 109.25. 109.2. 0.1. It's kind of in between those. Get it pretty close. And then this one can do to be a little bit higher. Let's put it at 109.7. And then this one also could do being higher, maybe a little bit more out. So you can adjust that 108.3 and 66.4. I like that. So let's make those adjustments here. 61, there's no 0.5. 109.7 and negative 2. Oopsies. There you go. Next joint. $63, 109.15 and negative 2.1. Next joint. And that one's going to be 64.5, 108.75, and negative 2.2. Then for the last joint, we have negative 66.4. Oops, not 666, just 66.4. 108.3 and negative 2.3. Okay, so let's delete all of these, run this code, and just so that we could see it a little bit better, we can drag a box and it's going to highlight all of the joints. And we can double check to make sure they're all there and that they're positioned where they should be. And I'm looking pretty quickly, but I feel like that is correct. So this was a time-consuming process. Let's see. I want to double check one really quick. We have sternum. Okay. Say upper chest. Okay. Great. So let's delete that. What was that really quick? Let's check what that group was. It's just an empty group. Great. Okay, so we have all of this, and now we will never have to do it again. So anytime we have a biped character that has 5 fingers, no toes. We are completely set up to automate the process here. These are the main joints. Later on, we're going to add twist joints and things like this, but this is the main set of joints that we can reposition for any character. But that gets us to this point in our character development for the rig. I hope you found this useful. We'll see you guys in the next video.